Welcome everybody to the Latin Nerds Network. My name is Jose and this is my review for A Quiet Place Day 1. The prequel, of course, to the first two Quiet Places. Very successful. I love those movies. I'm a big fan. John Krasinski, of course, directing both of those, who did not return to direct the third one here. And it seems that this movie was going to take a different direction than the first two, which I was fine with, right? This one here starring Lupita Nyong'o, if I'm saying that right. Joseph Quinn, of course, we saw him recently in Stranger Things. Is going to be the new Fantastic Four, etc., etc. They take center stage here, and what is a much different take, I guess, on the Quiet Place franchise, from a different departure from what you see here. Of course, because this one, of course, it starts day one, of course, the invasion, which you got a little taste of it in the beginning of Quiet Place 2. Of course, now this is setting in New York, which is big city, one of the loudest cities in the world, so it kind of makes sense to have the invasion there, right? And the kind of chaos that you could imagine will ensue based off that. Now, Lupita, plays a woman who is in hospice care. She's, I guess, they don't specify, but they do allude to her having cancer, and she's obviously dying. And they take a group out to go catch a show in the city and get some pizza, which she's been craving for a while. And of course, all hell breaks loose, and now she just, well, her and everyone else is trying to survive, and she does partner up with Joseph Quinn eventually, who doesn't want to be alone and kind of tags along like a lost dog. Reluctantly, she kind of accepts his company until they can get their pizza. And that sounds kind of stupid, they're trying to survive and get their pizza, right? But it does make sense in the context on the film of why she's doing what she's doing. Not to give too many spoilers away, but that does make sense, as stupid as it sounds. But listen, ultimately, this one is okay. It's very mid, as the kids will say these days. This one is a far notch below the first two films. Not to say it's a bad movie, it just doesn't live up to what the expectations set by the first couple, despite the fact they try to do something different, which I appreciate. I want to see something different. I thought seeing the trailers is going to be more of a macro approach, right? With the first two were just very micro, focusing on the family itself and that dynamic and that particular group, trying to surviving in this world now is, obviously with these aliens running around who can hear everything you do. So I figured this was going to be more along of a kind of more typical action blockbuster type alien invasion film, Independence Day, I guess, for lack of a better film. And it didn't quite give us that, and I was kind of disappointed because I wanted to see that, right? We've seen a little bit in the second Quiet Place of day one, and obviously focusing on that small town, and I figured, oh, we're gonna get a much bigger scale of it in New York, and we really don't. There's quick moments here and there of chaos, which you expect out of a city as loud as New York, and what would happen when these aliens who are attracted to noise, but they don't give us a whole lot of that. I gotta be honest, I was disappointed in terms of seeing that chaos, that disaster, that clown show that could be these aliens running around just wiping people out who don't quite understand that their noise is what gets their attention. We get very little of that here and there, moments here and there of that, but it's still kind of focused on the micro, particularly to the first two characters that they're trying to chug along and find a way to survive and find their pizza. I know that sounds stupid, but it's not. But ultimately, and it's hard because Lupita is a sympathetic character. She's obviously dying of cancer, and you like her. Joseph Quinn shows up maybe about halfway through, and you don't really get that character development, but they do end up having a decent relationship. And there's some good moments here and there, but they don't really quite hit home in terms of the emotional impact like the first couple did. And if you're gonna focus on that, it really should have focused on that, or gone the other way, which I thought would be a more a fresher take on this series and giving us that macro, right? Look at the big picture and the chaos and what's going on in the city and people surviving, aliens back and forth. And I found it kind of odd, like when they first invaded, like the next scene when they're a group of people, including Peter's character, trapped in his little theater. They already figured out that you can't make any noise, and I'm thinking, how did they figure it out already, right? I don't think they would have known that, right? Just so that was kind of weird, but in all, there's good moments of tension, no doubt. There's some cool scenes and the aliens. I like the design and all that. You get a little bit more of that, and that's okay. Some good, jump scares here and there, and that tension is good. But overall, I expected more. I like the direction they were trying to go with. They just didn't commit all the way, and that was my biggest issue with the film. Lupita's great. She really carries them. Well, Joseph Quinn's good too, but she's fantastic. Her reactions, her facial expressions, they're phenomenal. She's a great actress. We all know that. And kudos to her for really carrying this film. I think she really elevated more than it deserved to be. But, again, it's a movie If you're a fan of the series, yeah, I still say go check it out. Why not? It'll be fun experience in the theaters. People are gonna be jump scares and screaming in there and all that. That's cool. Just take with expectations. Don't expect something great, but it's still fun. It's still entertaining for the most part. It just lacked a little bit of that sizzle I was hoping that I thought this movie could have delivered on, and particularly given the cityscape of New York and aliens invading, it would have been mass chaos, and they kind of just brushed over through that, and they kind of just show us the aftermath, the destruction, but they don't show it actually being destroyed, if you will. But that being said, I still recommend it. Go check it out, definitely theaters. If you see it, comment below, let me know what you guys thought. And of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe below and feed money to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. See you guys next time.